Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Full crew today as we're going to be talking about Chainsaw Man. So I talked about this series a while ago. Again, written and drawn by the boy Sasuke Fujimoto. And of course, that's the guy that did Fire Punch. We're all big fans of that series. And this was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump, started in December 2018. And the reason we're talking about it today is because the quote-unquote final chapter came out for the series. And I was like, oh man, I wasn't expecting it to end so soon, but of course we got to do an episode on it. But before we really get into it, Oscar, Carl, we haven't gotten your thoughts on the podcast just for the series. So what did you think of the series up until, I guess, the ending?
I think it's Fujimoto just being classic Fujimoto. He's made a protagonist that's literally off the beaten path with like any other protagonist. So he's like doing everything that's opposite of the trope of like a standard shonen manga. So overall, I think it's probably one of my favorite manga up there.
I think it's a different kind of flavor than Fire Punch. Overall, I mean, you're still expecting a lot of those similar tropes that you can find in his kind of style when it comes to storytelling and stuff like that. You know, tragedy wise, Denji is more or less one of my top 5 unique favorite protagonists. Just kind of like piggybacking off of what Carl was saying, I do agree that he's very unique, kind of the opposite of what everybody else does. His personality and more importantly, his mindset. I think his mindset is one of by far the most kind of like a drawing thing, like a drawing personality. It draws people closer to him or in this case, readers into understanding and wanting to read more about the manga is to just kind of see Denji grow as a character. That was kind of one of the things that I really looked into and really looked forward to as we were like delving into these arcs.
He is like subtle with how he wants to do his writing. I guess gestured towards like those protagonists who have like those like ambitious goals. So like at the very beginning, like you have Denji, he has nothing, and his only goal was, I mean, we all know, just to touch some boobs. That was like his main goal at the very beginning. And then you have Aki, who we met for the first time. His main goal was to kill the Gun Devil. He's like the stereotypical, like, I need to do this in order to defeat my demons and, be like the hero of the day. If you read more into the manga, you kind of see what happens to him, and it's sad it does. That's another like Fujimoto style writing that I like about. He adds in stuff that's like kind of poking fun at like other mangas, but he spins it his own way, so it's, an interesting take. Not just like he's going to make fun of it and just be like, oh, that's it. This is my own interpretation of it, which I think is pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked, like I said in the last episode I did for Chainsaw Man, I liked how he was going a different route in the beginning. I was like, oh, wow, he's going like pretty shonen for this, and aside from Denji being who he is, right, where he literally says, like, I don't care. Like, to paraphrase, I don't care that I'm the main character, right? I have different goals in mind, like you guys are saying. And I was like, oh, this is all pretty fresh. And then, boom, with a left jab right to your face, classic Fujimoto writing in the series, where you're like, oh man, why are we doing this? So many emotions are flying through. All these characters are great, both the good and bad ones.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed was that, how it's always typical with like the shonen, like the main protagonist, they have like a harem in most cases. So like,
yeah.
In Denji's case, like almost every female character he interacts with either hates him or it turns out to be like a bad experience. Like most of the time. Like the first time he met Power, literally almost tried to kill him because she wanted her cat back. The only female character he got the most attached to was probably Rez and Makima. One of the more Fujimoto-esque style writings I like about it.
Their interpretation for Hell is really cool. It kind of reminded me of Bleach, whenever Ichigo has to like go inside of himself and like train or whatever, and, like all the buildings are sideways and stuff like that. But it's also reminding me of like Dorohedoro, where this like the thing kind of like the same thing where all the doors are like wizards and stuff like that.
Yeah, what I really liked for the second half of the series is how heavy the series got. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that because this is Fujimoto's second manga for the most part. He's just done a bunch of one-shots here and there before he did Fire Punch. Again, starting off like high shonen action, like really badass stuff. And then coming in with the heavy feels and pretty much all the aftermath of them going to hell, just the way everyone's personality changes, the shift in who the antagonist really is, the secret behind the Gun Devil. This definitely anchors Fujimoto as one of my favorite writers when it comes to manga.
But that definitely is like a classic Fujimoto when it gets like that dark. Because I think like even in Fire Punch, like shit gets like dark.
For me, the saddest part about the series by far was the whole little end result with Power.
Moving forward, gonna be big spoilers for the series. So if you haven't caught up or read Chainsaw Man, you definitely go and check it out, man. Yes, the thing with Power was crazy, man. When I did the part 1 review, I was talking about like, oh, there was this thing that happened where a friend of the show was just like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, you got some, and he was telling me like, you got big balls for sharing some Chainsaw Man stuff right now after this chapter dropped. And I don't know what he was talking about, but when that chapter hit and we saw what Makima's true intentions and how Power dies, like I remember I read that chapter thinking like, oh, holy shit, Fujimoto, you did it again.
When I saw that for the first time, when I saw, Denji pulls the door and Makima does like the finger gun, literally blasts her, and I just like gasped. I was never expecting that, honestly.
He executed it perfectly, man, because the build up to all of that was great, right? There was a lot of despair after they came out of hell, and Power was traumatized pretty much the entire time after that, and thus having Denji to take care of her, and then, their relationship grows into something that what it wasn't, and then to get comfort, Denji goes to Makima, like his ray of hope. And then that's when we get the big reveal of that, well, actually Makima's kind of the true antagonist for the series now. In order to break down Denji, she set up everything to give him happiness and then forcefully take it away not that long after. And then just that scene with Power was pretty powerful.
The most demoralizing thing was like when you saw Makima start laughing the second Denji gets back to the couch and he's like, Power just died? And she just starts cracking up. It's like the very first time you see Makima show like any emotion. Like, there's like that one part like in the middle when they went on that date in the movies and she cried a little bit. Mm-hmm. You're thinking like, oh, she's kind of human. And then you see her laugh for the first time she showed like any real emotion is because of that. The fact that Denji is dumbfounded by the fact that he essentially killed Power. I think when I saw that was like the most defining factor. Like, Makima is without a doubt a villain.
Everything leading up after that point with Denji and just basically what his morale is, the fact that when he went into his berserk mode, I thought all that stuff was great. Still keeping the high shonen with the fighting choreography, that was great right there. And just the big tonal shift, like it was just, everything was set perfectly. The crazy parts of it was like, yes, I was getting Dorohedoro vibes as well, because I was like, man, shit's just getting weird in this series, man. I don't even know where it's going to go next.
It kind of raises the question, like, when Denji went to, like, the Berserk form, or, like, his, like, this true Chainsaw Man form, and he went to Hell, like, actually, I was a little confused, like, why that was necessary. I mean, I guess it was necessary because, like, they summoned the Hell Devil. I don't know if he really had to do that, but it was still cool seeing the whole, like, he went through Hell and, like, literally just, like, ran town against all these devils that have been there probably, like, ages.
But that was to be revealed after the fact that he has like that special power where anything that he ingests, doesn't come back. When he was in Hell, he was going to town. Like they already revealed that any other death, non-chainsaw related, people always end up coming back or regenerating just in the alternate plane. Devils on Earth die on Earth but come back in Hell. Devils that die in Hell come back on Earth and vice versa. But in this case, he went to Hell, and he just had his fucking buffet fill on like permadeath devils, just gaining all their powers, and well, not really gaining their powers or anything like that, but just like absorbing them. I think it's very unique what he ended up doing with Makima's power and the way that it works that way. That's not something that if you put it on paper, it sounds like it works. But like actually trying to explain it, it's like obviously there's a loophole somewhere here that's not being fleshed out very good. Because Makima has the power of domination. That's basically what she does. But she stated that she only has power over things that she knows that she's better than, that she's powerful than. So the only thing that she didn't think that she was better than was Chainsaw Man. But like there was a point where Chainsaw Man originally came out, like when he first delved out his powers and went full form. Like she said to Chainsaw Man, "Hey, like you killed me 26 times in a row, and you still haven't eaten me. Like, what's wrong with you? Are you trying to do it? Like, are you trying to like toy with me, or am I just not tasty to you? Do you not want me to die? Like, what's going on? You know?" I think that all of these things, in combination are just pointing out facts to the fact that, Chainsaw Man can't really exist without Denji. That's pretty much clear. Makima's existence as a whole can't really be denied by anybody or anything. Even Chainsaw Man, like his power just wouldn't work because the person basically who is Chainsaw Man would, have to have absolutely no feelings towards Makima, like basically just think of it as a complete stranger in order for him to properly like, erase her existence.
No, I think what it is, yeah, she got disappointed by Chainsaw Man not being able to kill her, thus her thinking that she is better than Chainsaw Man. And then on Denji's end, it's that he had no malice towards her, just the love that he still has for her, but just also the feeling of nothingness after everything that just happened. I think that just wasn't enough drive for this berserk form for Chainsaw Man to truly kill her, like she intended to this whole time. As we got to the end of the final quote-unquote chapter for Chainsaw Man, turns out, yeah, it's not over. Part 2's coming. We're moving from Shonen Jump to Jump Plus. That's the digital-only magazine for Shonen Jump. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm sort of a little disappointed we're going this route for Chainsaw Man. Mainly because I felt like this final chapter was great, was a good ending for it. It was total Fujimoto. And it just really felt like, yeah, this is how you wrap it up. Of course, if this was the ending, we would have seen some stuff with Power for sure at the end. But yeah, for me, for the cliffhanger and how we saw just the way Denji was in the last panel and them talking about Chainsaw Man fighting other devils, I feel like we're going like full shonen again for the series, which I don't think we need anymore.
Yeah, that's like one of the things I'm worried about is the fact that he's kind of living up to that hero stuff, and the last thing you want is to drag on and be like the other shonen that no one really cares about.
Because now at this point, he became the character that we all expected him to be in the beginning, right? He's more positive now. He has better goals in mind, and yeah, he wants to be praised and wants to be recognized like he's always been, but I don't think a continuation is really what we need for this series. I thought it wrapped up nicely with the way they just ended with Makima and this whole abstract way to defeat her, but she still comes back in a reincarnation. But like Power said, when she comes back, she's not going to be herself. Therefore, Makima's not. And so now it's Denji's responsibility to make sure Makima doesn't become Makima again. And I think that's a good open-ended way to end the series that is Chainsaw Man, because again, yeah, the only other thing I could see the series going for is it's just going to go more shonen heavy, and I think after going the route it did with the story, that's not something we need anymore.
I guess, yeah, just like saying before, my only hope is that continuing on, like Fujimoto like really doesn't try and go down the shonen route. I feel like I want to put my trust into Fujimoto and like hope that he's not going to go down that route, and he's going to like throw some sort of twist that's not going to be typical for, like, he's going to find out like, hey, maybe being a hero isn't like all it's meant out to be, or, but even then, like, if he like realizes, hey, maybe not being a hero is all it's meant out to be, it might be like another trope in itself. Overall, I have a lot of hope for part 2. Denji doesn't become like another cookie cutter character, and he just keeps being the the average teenage kid who, he kind of got threw into the whole, oh, I guess I'm a devil hunter now, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's kind of just figuring stuff out. If anything, it would be cool if he just kind of becomes like, I guess, like a war-torn veteran of like the devil hunting agency. Like, his goal isn't necessarily to be like live up to the hero stuff, but I think his goal, I guess, was insinuated near the end, was just to, have a family. He's like literally just being the dad.
Well, I would say older brother.
older brother. Yeah, I guess older brother would make sense. I feel like it would be cooler if we went down a route where it's not typical for shonen, for sure, because that's what I'm hoping he doesn't do, and he like whoever this kid is, he kind of brings up in the world, and he makes his own new squad. But again, that's also like down the same route of like shonen, like hey, he lost his previous squad, and like oh, he's got like a whole new squad now, and it's like a bunch of like new characters that have cool abilities. That's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean that's what I hope doesn't happen. For the continuation for the series, it has to be. I feel like he's gonna be, I guess, in his what you could call a punk phase, right? He's definitely gonna have fun being Chainsaw Man now that he realizes like, oh wait, people are actually noticing me and they think I'm cool. Hell yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. Now that he's in high school now too, we're gonna see a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah. They're probably gonna do like a school arc. Oh, I don't know if they would put him in school because like he's still 16, isn't he?
Yeah, but we saw him wearing a school uniform.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, they mentioned like, oh, I heard Chainsaw Man like is a high school student or whatever.
Unfortunately, I don't think that you're gonna be able to get away from the main aspect of the series. I mean, like that's basically what its title is. You're at one point or another, there's going to be a conflict. There's powers already involved in the series, so you should just assume that, there's going to be a fight more or less at one point. What I would say is continuing the series, I think this would compare to that little segment of Fire Punch where Agni, basically doesn't fight. He would spend, what was it, like 2 or 3 years just basically taking care of those children. Before he was basically forced into doing those things again because he ended up blacking out and ended up just fucking up again. But I think that this is just basically following that same trend from Fire Punch, where if this is going to be a part 2 continuation and we're going to get more, that this is going to be Denji's period of time where he's just basically going to be, non-violent, pacifist, basically, and he's going to, try to enforce and instill like the good aspects of stuff, because he knows already that like, oh, my life up to this point has only been worth this much because of everything I've been able to bring in with Pochita around me, with Chainsaw Man's powers, but you can't absolutely have that. And he knows that. By this point, he's well enough to understand that he cannot raise a person or even a child around that kind of stuff. He realized that with Power towards the end. Because when he had to like take care of Power and Power was sleeping next to him, and every night he would like kind of like wake up and make sure that she wasn't, screaming or whatever until she went back to normal. He realized right then and there, oh, this is what it's like.
This brings up another good point. I'm pretty sure it won't go down the shonen route also because from the very beginning, Denji's goal was just to have a normal life. All he wanted was like literally like a bread, toast, and a girlfriend. Overall, he just wants to like live a normal life. He wants to not be like the parental figure, like what Danny, like what you're saying. He wants to be more so like a brother figure to the kid he's raising. And it would make more sense that he's going to do a more subdued life. He's going to like live out his life as a high school student. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he just like, if we go down like a slice of life route and it's like straight up just like high school, trying to just go about everyday life. But he's also like, living up this persona of like, I'm Chainsaw Man, but I need to kill devils too.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what he wants to do at all. Like, both you and Oscar, what you're saying, I have to disagree, because just the last page itself, like, we already know exactly what Denji's been doing and what he's gonna do moving forward. He doesn't want a normal life. All the talks of Chainsaw Man, fighting all these devils, right? That's not him being a pacifist. That's him enjoying being Chainsaw Man. And then even him having that smirk, getting ready to fight that demon that's rampaging in the city. Like, he's gonna be fighting. Like, that's his whole goal, which I think, in my opinion, it sucks because, well, like you said, the series title is Chainsaw Man. That's what the story's about. The story of Chainsaw Man is already over, I think. And to have him continue being like, well, I'm just going to be Chainsaw Man how I want to be. I mean, that's cool. I don't know. To me, that's just not interesting. We didn't get a hint of it, and I hope it pops up in part 2, but, his main goal right now should be to try to find Power again. Like, that's his purpose.
Yeah.
To try to find the Blood Devil, get Power back, because that's all that really mattered during his whole state of depression. Well, Power's not here anymore. There's nothing's worth it. There's just no point in being Denji or Chainsaw Man. Like, let's just let it end already.
See, he was kind of affectionate like that towards a lot of people. I mean, but like I said, Power, he had a very familial attachment to. Like this kind of gives me like the same kind of feeling comes to like Kei Chrono from Gantz, the main character. They're given the option to reviving a character, bringing somebody back. It's just like there were so many people that you could have picked in between. It's like it doesn't like of course it matters, but at this point it's just like I don't think Power was that close, like that person that he was gonna try to bring back to realize happiness in that way. Like I don't see it romantically.
Of course she was. That was the whole point of all those scenes with Denji and Power together up until the point Makima killed her. That's why he was depressed and didn't want to live anymore. Like I thought that was pretty clear.
It's not like I didn't see like an intimate relationship. I didn't seem like a romantic relationship is what I'm saying. I think it was more like a familial relationship. He sees Power as a sister and not as a lover is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but to say that she's not that important to Denji, I think that's totally off the mark of what Fujimoto was trying to do.
I mean, yeah, without a doubt, I agree with both of your points. Sure, Power isn't like, super close to Denji in the sense that like, they're not like lovers. I understand that for sure. They're definitely super close in the terms of like they see each other as like family to the point where Denji would definitely make it a goal for himself to see if he can get Power back. And that's probably what they're going to segue into the next part two. They're going to find out like, okay, how can I go back to Hell World? It's like, do I have to like kill a bunch of people to summon the Hell Devil so I can go back there? Or...
Well, no, remember she's going to get reincarnated. Like that's what she was talking about. To Denji before her blood vanished.
So wait, does that insinuate that like she's gonna get reincarnated into the real world or reincarnated into the Hell World?
Into the real world. Well, because look, Makima came back.
If you think about it, they said before, if a devil gets killed in the real world, they get sent to Hell World. In this case, Power, when she was in like her true form, she got killed in the real world. So I'm assuming she's gonna get sent to the Hell World because of that logic.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain how Makima comes back, though.
With the Prime Minister, she has a contract with the Prime Minister where she literally just never dies. Every time she dies, like someone else like takes the blow for it.
Yeah, but this isn't the same Makima, though. Like this is a reincarnation of the devil itself, not the personality Makima.
So Danny does have a point there, but I'm gonna go ahead and just re-add that I'm gonna say that she's just gonna be this exception from being one of those ancient devils, those supreme beings that that they were explaining earlier. It would make sense that for whatever reason she's just gonna get a pass because it's not like she's actually been defeated before. Technically, she has, but only by Chainsaw Man. So as far as I see it, throughout the whole entire series, her record of losing has literally been 1, and now it's 2. So I can see her being like super, super omnipotent to the point where she can just literally just reincarnate somewhere else without her memory. Because it's like a little bit about what the last chapter is saying, and I think we have rehashed this earlier, is just like by him eating Makima, the personality, the person that embodied that ego, that soul who was Makima, no longer exists. But the devil, the domination devil, that person has to continuously respawn.
But that raises the question though, like, so Makima's dead, and Denji ate her. If Denji killed the Control Devil, then the Control Devil will be born as a baby. So like the instant that she dies, like somewhere a baby is born, but the kid is like a couple like years old at least. So like how does that work? Does like the Control Devils like take over like a kid, or does like the kid just pop out of nowhere because like the instant like I don't know.
Well, yeah, the devils take over people. Like that's the whole thing.
So the kid was like just some normal kid, and then the Control Devil like got sunk into that kid.
To me, it would make more sense if this little girl that we're seeing, Nayuta, is the devil, not that she contracted with a devil. Remember, the series is based off hybrids. Like you would see people doing or either doing a motion or activating it with like a word or something like that. And that's how they activate their powers. Like Rise, I think she just like pulls the choker on her neck. Denji has the string. I don't know about the katana guy. Lao Shi, the assassin girl, she has to take the dagger out of her eye. These are how they activate their hybrid forms. But Nayuta, she already has her horns. Power too. Power doesn't need any hybrid form. Power's already in her devil form.
Well, yeah, because Power took over a human.
Well, in Power's case, she's a fiend, so she's not like a hybrid or anything. She's actually like she is the Blood Devil, but like you're saying, the Blood Devil took over a dead body. I think that's what happened.
Because even when, remember when Denji took a piece of Power's blood and Power came back to life inside of Denji, and she's like, "Didn't I die?" And you're just like, "No, this is the part of Power that you ate that one time." And she had like the same form and everything. She can just kind of do whatever she wants with their form, I'm guessing.
That would make sense. Like, she's literally like the Blood Devil. So the fact that Denji literally took part of her blood, like, I guess part of her can be regenerated.
That was when Power was still Power before, she dies. Then the next time we see her, she's not going to look like that. It might not even be a she at that point, right? Because the Blood Devil took over, a female body, and that's how we got Power as Power.
I was going to say, I think that does bring proof to the theory that, like, you can take chunks of a devil, and you can make another form of the devil somewhere else. It was the same thing with the Gun Devil. The gun devil that we saw was like not the whole form of the gun devil, if you think about it, because like I think when they said they just had like a bunch of parts of the devil. I think, what was it, America had like 25% of the gun devil, and that's what we saw. That was only 25% of the gun devil. So like the other 75% is still out there in the world. So he's not completely gone yet. It was like the same thing with like a Denji when he ripped out his heart. I think, what was it, in that scene where he was like in space and he threw his heart out of his chest and like threw it straight down to Earth, and his body just reformed around the heart. So I think it's like one of those things where you can take a part of a devil and you can transfer it, or you can split it up, and that's still like the devil. You're not making two different people when you split a devil in half. It's still like the same devil, just like, because there's a lot that you can do with devils, and in terms of like, they take different forms. They can become hybrids. The way they do contracts too, it gives them like a lot of room to how they can exist in the world in different forms too. So I guess it makes sense with like a Nayuta, in the sense where she literally just came into existence because she literally is like the Control Devil incarnate, and just I guess with the death of Makima, she formed like a new existence. It could have been like, Control Devil spirit just like went inside the kid, or it could have been like, I guess, like with Angel's case, I think with the Angel Devil, they found Angel Devil on like an island in the middle of nowhere, and they don't even know like where Angel Devil came from. They just kind of washed up on the beach. So it could be something like that, where the kid like literally just washed up from the ocean, and they just found the kid, and for some reason the kid was the Control Devil.
Yeah, no, I just think that once Denji defeated Makima, that's when the Control Devil came back into existence, like after she was defeated. Or essentially killed, right?
Also, side theory, the fact that Control Devil got turned back into a kid and, came out of nowhere at existence is the same thing with like Pochita. When Neji found Pochita for the first time, it was like Chainsaw Man in like his weakest form. So probably that kid we're looking at right now is the Control Devil in their weakest form, and they just kind of spawned like that. So it might have been the same thing with like a Nayuta. Just it's Control Devil in the weakest form.
Yeah, classic trope, right? Where if the antagonist gets reincarnated, or if somebody gets reincarnated, they're usually in a younger form.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that in Gintama. We see that in End of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, so I guess to wrap things up here for the episode, yeah, definitely big surprise at the end, I guess, that we're getting a part 2, like we're saying. I mean, yeah, I'll probably still read Chainsaw Man, but I honestly wish we ended it here. I like it when things can be open-ended, like the way this last chapter was. Like, we didn't get to see pretty much what happened with everybody. I mean, if this was the final chapter, again, I think we would have seen something with Power, like, at the very end. Like, Denji, like, encounters, like, the new power that's out there. That's probably would have been the end teaser, that way to tie up that end, because that's one of the most important things. But yeah, just to have the fact that it's gonna be a whole new series for Chainsaw Man, that has me worried the most. And I just hope that it sticks to what Fujimoto can do best and doesn't get too, I guess, just too shonen, because I don't really want that anymore with this series.
Yeah, I'm hoping with like his transition to the digital, as he'll take more breaks and he'll focus more time on like fleshing out the story, so it doesn't turn out like another throwaway manga. Because I really don't want that to happen, because the series is really good. And like you're saying, I do kind of agree that it could have ended right there too. There's a lot that he kind of used up like really quickly within the first part, that makes it hard for it to not be a shonen, like a straight up shonen in part two?
I think it's already been mentioned, but in part two, if we get a time skip, kind of hope we do. I hope that a lot of the characters that survived from the first one end up coming back. One of the guys that we were talking about besides Kishibe was I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was one of the devil hunters, and he had an octopus devil.
Oh, Yoshida.
So he's supposed to be alive still because he never died, and he just kind of dipped out with Kishibe. So I was kind of hoping, like people like him or Kusakabe, I'm sorry, that's his name. I was hoping that, people like him end up coming back later and making like a kind of fill in the blanks kind of situation going on with what was taking part in the in between time, that our characters were growing and developing or, getting used to whatever the current situation is. I want shit to be more fleshed out because I want exactly what Danny is saying. Like, I want there to be less shonen and more story. I think that Fujimoto is exceptional when it comes to being able to do this. And I think that he has the ability to do that without adding these categorized fights, that are just going to scale up to every other shonen thing that we've ever seen or already heard about, So that's basically the one thing that I'm holding on to. I hope that ends up being something that we see a lot more. I'm just going to hold it together and just say that when this inevitable tragedy that I know is going to happens, that I'm not already on the floor like in a big pile of my own emotions and tears and mess.
Well, that's the best part about Fujimoto. He like rips your heart out with some of the stuff that you see.
Telling you I'm not ready. I really wanted this to end on a happy note. If it's going to be anything like Fire Punch, it's not going to end on a happy note. It's just going to end on a just take what I give you note. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Goddamn.
It's like the universe is completely destroyed and all you have is just Denji floating through the sky.
This is what I was telling Danny off record. I was like, this is some bullshit, or I bet you anything this last chapter is just going to have the little stem from Fire Punch exist in the same universe, and it's just going to like hit Denji's Earth, and you're just going to see Agni and what's her face come out of the little flower, and that they're going to be the new antagonists for the series.
I would say Fujimoto can definitely play his cards right because he knows how to put like good foreshadowing and people won't expect it because, like, for God's sake, literally the cover for chapter 1 at the very end where Denji's killing Makima, he made that connection from the very beginning to the very point where Denji kills her. Fujimoto can definitely like lay seeds out, throw in small stuff that can turn out really big later on. But on the other end, I can definitely see that with Fire Punch, it's really good. It becomes so tragic that it becomes depressing in the end, and it's like you kind of left with that feeling like, oh man, this is like the most saddest ending. Is the most saddest bittersweet ending that you could have had. I think it's good in its own way. It's like the same with Oyasumi Punpun. You know how bitter that was.
That's just what I was about to say. Definitely gives me Punpun vibes.
He has the same sort of writing where it can be really bitter. Like, who knows? Like, maybe the kid's gonna die in like a really sad way, and he's gonna lead up to that as like his ending for part 2. But that's why I have hope for Fujimoto. He can set out some stuff that you wouldn't expect, and I think that's what he's really good at in terms of writing. He puts in a twist like almost at every arc of the series that most people wouldn't like really see coming. I mean, I was on the Chainsaw Man Discord, like, reading some like people's like theories. Like, some people, they can like have a good idea of like what to expect, but sometimes it's like it's so far left field, like no one would have saw this coming. So that's my hope in Fujimoto.
Yeah, I think the way this chapter ended, was it 97? I think that was like probably the most positive you could have ended this series, and still keep its integrity.
That was like finally a good note.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna keep an eye on Chainsaw Man 2. When it moves over to Jump Plus. We don't know when that's gonna happen. They didn't say a date at the end of the chapter. And we'll see what's next for Denji and all that good stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll definitely be back once, that series ends or we get to something pretty big, and we'll come back and talk about it. on a separate episode.
Also, anime coming out, so excited for that.
Yeah, anime got announced with Studio Mappa working on it, so that's pretty cool. I hope they do it justice. If I had to guess, they're going to use CG. I do think CG will probably be good for the series if they could do it right. And I think that's going to be the trickiest part for this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Chainsaw Man's going to be CG, like every single time we see him, just because he's a chainsaw.
Yeah, it's a lot of detail to make in the animation, so it would make sense.
So cool, man. Until we get that new series started and the anime debuts, if you want to send us your thoughts, what did you think of this ending for part 1 of Chainsaw Man? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And you can send that email to universepodcast@gmail.com. And then you can go ahead and follow us on social media anywhere you go at Universe Podcast. Let you know when the latest episodes drop. So thanks, guys, and we will catch you on the next episode.
I'm in the pink caddy, sipping on that pink water, trying not to sink. I don't really need to think. Sit on the lip of Earth's pool and dive in. Call for shotgun, who be riding? Cause I've been driving myself insane with these stones and bricks that I use. Make the cave and sit in it, washing away from the rain. Admitting that though, it don't heal the pain. I don't wanna keep talking about it, talking about it, feeling surrounded until I'm asking, please. Just let me out. I don't wanna keep talking about it, talking about it, feeling surrounded until I'm asking, please. Just let